embark on a nostalgic journey back to a simpler time, when the anticipation of beloved television shows like Little House on the Prairie filled our hearts with joy. The year was 1974, and America found solace in the Ingalls family amidst the turmoil of the controversial Vietnam War. In a time of uncertainty, the rustic charm of a cabin in the wilderness, coupled with the wholesome adventures of a family living on a farm in the late 1800s, offered a comforting escape. The relatable issues faced by the Ingalls clan resonated with viewers then and continue to do so today. Little House on the Prairie captivated audiences from its very first episode, solidifying its place as one of the greatest shows of all time. As we revisit this classic series, let us delve into the lives of the beloved characters and discover the twists and turns that made it so endearing. Melissa Gilbert as Laura Ingalls. Laura Ingalls Wilder, the iconic protagonist of the cherished television series Little House on the Prairie, captivated audiences with her portrayal of pioneer life. The talented Melissa Gilbert breathed life into Laura's character, mirroring her growth from youth to resilient womanhood. The series drew inspiration from the autobiographical works of the real-life Laura Ingalls Wilder, offering a glimpse into the challenges and triumphs of frontier existence. Her nascent appearances on the screen included a slew of commercials, among which was an Alpo dog food advertisement featuring Lorne Greene, famously known for playing Ben Cartwright on Bonanza. Gilbert's academic pursuits also intertwined with those of Leslie Landon, the daughter of Michael Landon, her on-screen father in Little House on the Prairie. Venturing into the political arena, Gilbert announced her bid for Michigan's 8th congressional district seat in the 2016 U.S. House of Representatives elections on August 10, 2015. As the presumptive Democratic nominee, she embarked on a campaign trail. However, health concerns prompted her to withdraw from the race in May 2016. Demonstrating resilience and innovation, Gilbert launched Modern Prairie in 2022, a lifestyle app tailored to the interests and needs of women. In the aftermath of her congressional candidacy, Gilbert faced accusations of tax evasion from an attendee at her opponent's campaign event. The allegation referenced outstanding federal and state tax debts totaling $360,000 and $112,000, respectively. She assured the public that she had proactively negotiated a repayment plan with the IRS. Gilbert's personal struggles extended beyond finances as she bravely confronted an addiction to prescription medication and alcohol in her late 30s. In January 2015, she made a health-driven decision to have her breast implants removed, signifying a commitment to her well-being. Karen Grassel as Caroline Ingalls. Charles Ingalls, portrayed by the iconic Michael Landon, was the sturdy and self-reliant patriarch of the Ingalls family in Little House on the Prairie. Pa Ingalls exemplified the epitome of hard work, love, and dedication as a father figure. His character's wisdom, bravery, and steadfast devotion to his family were renowned, and he approached the hardships of frontier existence with fortitude and optimism. Charles Ingalls has become an enduring symbol of the American spirit. Karen Grassel, the actress who played Charles Ingalls' wife, was born in Northern California and spent her childhood in Ventura after relocating there with her family at the age of 5. Her professional career commenced with a season at the Front Street Theater in Memphis, Tennessee, after honing her craft at the Stanford Contemporary Workshop and the Colorado Shakespeare Festival. While residing in New York City, she performed at resident and stock theaters across the country and appeared on PBS and network soap operas. The year 2021 marked Grassel's appearance in the film Not to Forget, wherein she starred alongside esteemed Academy Award winners Cloris Leachman, Louis Gossett Jr., Tatum O'Neal, George Chakiris, and Olympia Dukakis. At the time of publication, Grassel lived in the San Francisco Bay Area with her son, Zach Radford. In her memoir, Grassel candidly discusses her struggles with alcoholism and her difficult relationship with her Little House co-star, Michael Landon. According to Grassel, Landon made derogatory comments about her while on set, often in front of cast and crew members, creating a strained work environment. Additionally, Grassel reveals that their relationship became tense after she requested a raise, which Landon denied. However, Grassel shared that they were able to reconcile before Landon's unfortunate passing in 1991 from pancreatic cancer. Michael Landon as Charles Ingalls. Charles Ingalls, spouse of Caroline and parent to Mary, Laura, Carrie, Charles Jr., and Grace, plus adoptive parent to Albert, James, and Cassandra, is the offspring of Laura Colby and Lansford Ingalls, with Peter and Polly as his kin. Eugene Maurice Orowitz, later Landon, entered the world on October 31, 1936, in Forest Hills, a Queensboro in New York. His television debut occurred in the series Telephone Time, where he portrayed The Mystery of Caspar Hauser in 1956. At 22 in 1959, Landon embarked on his inaugural TV role as Little Joe Cartwright on Bonanza, a pioneer in color broadcasting. Lorne Greene, Pernell Roberts, and Dan Blocker shared the screen with him. During its sixth season, from 1964 to 1965, Bonanza reigned supreme in the Nielsen ratings for 3 consecutive years. Beyond acting, Landon pursued a singing career geared toward the teen idol genre. In 1957, coinciding with his prominence in I Was a Teenage Werewolf, Candlelight Records unveiled a Michael Landon single, Gimme a Little Kiss, Will Ya, Huh? Be Patient with Me, with certain copies attributing the music to the teenage werewolf persona. In 1962, Phonograph reissued both tunes, complete with a pictorial sleeve showcasing Landon's Little Joe Cartwright persona from Bonanza. On April 2, 1991, Landon encountered a debilitating headache while skiing in Utah. 3 days afterward, doctors diagnosed him with pancreatic cancer, which had already affected the tissues and blood vessels surrounding his pancreas. On July 1, 1991, at 1:20 p.m., Landon passed away at 54 in Malibu, California, with his wife by his side, Sidney Greenbush and Rachel Lindsay Greenbush as Carrie Ingalls. Before Grace's arrival, Carrie was always regarded as the baby of the family. Upon the Ingalls family's initial relocation to Walnut Grove, Carrie remained at home with Caroline, as she was not yet of school-going age. However, as soon as she reached the appropriate age, Carrie commenced her education. Carrie formed a strong bond with her adopted sister, Cassandra, who, along with her older brother James, came to reside with the Ingalls clan. The family's move to Burr Oak, Iowa, in pursuit of enhanced prospects, served as the rationale for their absence in the narrative, with the exception of Laura. Nonetheless, the series abruptly concluded a few months later, concluding with a scene of the character frolicking in a meadow, followed by the credit Lindsay Sidney Greenbush, leading some spectators to assume this was the full name of a singular actress. It is worth noting that Sidney endured several arm fractures during the show's run, necessitating a cast. Consequently, Lindsay predominantly portrayed Carrie. In 1983, Lindsay appeared as a victim of abuse in an episode of Matt Houston, marking her guest starring role. Meanwhile, Sidney took on the role of Hambone in the film Hambone and Hilly in the same year. The twin sisters jointly featured in commercials for an array of brands, including Double Mint Gum, Mattel Toys, and Kentucky Fried Chicken. They ultimately opted to relinquish their acting careers in favor of enrolling in a traditional public school. They successfully completed their high school education at Santa Monica High in 1988. Sidney's union with horse breeder William Rocky Foster endured for 9 years until his untimely demise at 55 years of age in 2009. Lindsay, on the other hand, exchanged wedding vows with Daniel Sanchez in 2014. Their initial encounter occurred during the filming of Little House at Big Sky Ranch in Simi Valley, where exterior scenes were captured. Lindsay reminisced about their early meeting, revealing that Michael Landon granted Daniel permission to observe the filming process at Big Sky Ranch. In a delightful twist of fate, they reconnected and ultimately wedded at the very location where they first crossed paths many years later. Richard Bull as Nels Olson. Nelson Olson is the joint owner of Olson's Mercantile, alongside his wife, Harriet Olson. The couple has 3 children together: Nellie, Willie, and an adopted daughter named Nancy. Harriet and Nels exemplify the classic love-hate relationship, often engaging in arguments and bickering, but only occasionally taking it too far. Born on June 26, 1924, in Zion, Illinois, Bull relocated to Chicago in 1994 with his wife, Barbara Collentine. In September 2012, the couple moved to the Motion Picture and Television Fund House, leaving Chicago behind. Bull's journey into acting was serendipitous. "I never seriously contemplated pursuing a career in acting," he shared. "As a high school senior, I intended to study music, but a friend suggested we enroll at the Goodman Theater School. I became enamored with it, despite my friend dropping out after just 2 weeks." A 3-year hiatus occurred when Bull served as a radio operator for the Army Air Corps, but upon his discharge in 1946, he resumed his acting studies at Goodman. Bull's stage career kicked off at the renowned Goodman Theater in Chicago. He attributed a 2-line role in The Greatest Story Ever Told as a pivotal moment that opened numerous doors. Director George Stevens was impressed by Bull's emotional performance, which directly resulted in Bull landing the role of an FBI agent in The Satan Bug. With over 100 film and TV appearances, Bull established himself as a versatile actor. Sadly, Bull passed away on the morning of February 3, 2014, at the Motion Picture and Television Country House and Hospital in Calabasas, California, due to pneumonia. He was 89 years of age. Catherine McGregor as Harriet Olson. Harriet Olson, in essence, is a stubborn and haughty individual, self-centered to a fault. Her husband strongly opposed this behavior and attempted to discipline her at every opportunity. Harriet is not a kind person. She frequently complained about the quality of eggs that Caroline purchased. She improved somewhat after her daughter Nellie married, as did her son Willie, but she never truly reflected on her own character flaws. Scotty McGregor, born in December 1925 in Glendale, California, to Ralph S. McGregor and Beatrice E. Willard, built a career in theater, performing on and off Broadway in plays such as The 7-Year Itch and Handful of Fire. She also took on uncredited roles in films like On the Waterfront, playing a longshoreman's mother. After her time on Little House on the Prairie, McGregor shifted her focus to local theater productions. She embraced the Hindu religion and dedicated herself to teaching acting to children through the wee Hollywood Vedanta Players before eventually retiring in the early 2000s. In 2014, she shared her life story and career insights in an interview for the book Prairie Memories by Patrick Loubatiere. McGregor's personal life included 2 marriages, first to actor Burt Remsen from 1949 to 1950, and later to actor, director, and teacher Edward G. K. Martin, who was 14 years her junior, from 1969 to 1970. She had no children. She overcame alcoholism and converted to Hinduism during her recovery. Notably, she was absent from the series finale of Little House on the Prairie due to a pilgrimage to India that coincided with the filming of the final episodes. McGregor passed away in November 2018 at the Motion Picture and Television Country House and Hospital in Woodland Hills, Los Angeles, at the age of 93. Kevin Hagen as Dr. Hiram Baker. Hiram Baker, the affable physician and veterinarian of Walnut Grove and its environs, operates out of an office in the same building as the post office. He typically works alone, save for a few instances where he's been aided by others. For instance, when Harriet Olson's niece, Kate, was in town, she joined him on his rounds. Hagen, a native of Chicago, Illinois, was born to Håkon Olaf Hagen and Marvel Lucille Wadsworth, both professional ballroom dancers. Hagen landed his first regular series role in 1958, portraying John Colton, the city administrator of New Orleans in the CBS Western Yancey Derringer. On April 29, 1962, he appeared as Court in an episode of the series Lawman. He also made appearances in Laramie, Have Gun, Will Travel, Mannix, The Time Tunnel, and Perry Mason. Notably, he portrayed murderers in 2 Perry Mason episodes, Jacob Leonard in The Case of the Gambling Lady and Samuel Carlton in The Case of the Fugitive Fräulein. From 1968 to 1970, Hagen portrayed Inspector Dobbs Kobik in 9 episodes of Land of the Giants. In 1992, he relocated to Grants Pass in southwestern Oregon, where he showcased his talents in concerts, dinner theaters, and on stages in Medford, Ashland, and Grants Pass. His performances included a one-man show titled A Playful Dose of Prairie Wisdom. Unfortunately, Hagen was diagnosed with esophageal cancer in 2004 and passed away on July 9, 2005, at his home in Grants Pass, leaving behind his son Christopher and his wife Jan, whom he married in 1993. Allison Arngrim as Nellie Olson. The infamous Nellie Olson Dalton, firstborn of Harriet and Nels Olson, reigned over her younger siblings, Willie and adopted sister Nancy. Marrying Percival Dalton, she bore him 2 offspring. Born with a silver spoon as the apple of wealthy general store owners' eyes, she ruled with an iron fist, bullying and spoiling at will. Her antics, described by Arngrim as like having PMS for 7 years, earned her lasting infamy on Little House on the Prairie. The Young Artist Foundation recognized Arngrim's outstanding performance in 2002 with the former child star Lifetime Achievement Award. At the 2006 TV Land Awards, her portrayal of Nellie secured a tie with Danielle Spencer's Dee from What's Happening for the character most in need of a time-out. Beyond the spotlight, Arngrim channels her energies into charitable endeavors, drawing inspiration from the memory of her friend and colleague Steve Tracy, who played her husband, Percival, on Little House on the Prairie. Tragically, Tracy's life was cut short in 1986 due to AIDS-related complications, fueling Arngrim's passion for AIDS activism, including her involvement with ACIT UP and AIDS hotlines. Her advocacy extends to other crucial issues such as child abuse, and she actively lobbies and speaks for Protect. In a brave moment, she shared her own experience as a survivor of incest on Larry King Live in 2004. Arngrim penned an autobiography, Confessions of a Prairie Bitch, How I Survived Nellie Olson and Learned to Love Being Hated, in 2010, courageously naming her teenage brother as her abuser while infusing the narrative with humor and levity. The book received critical acclaim for its deft handling of humor and personal tragedy. She adapted the book into a successful one-person stage show, debuting at Club Fez in New York before touring to venues like Parliament House, a renowned gay resort in Orlando, Florida. Jonathan Gilbert as Willie Olson. The son and second child of Nels and Harriet Olson and younger brother to Nellie, Willie Olson resided with his family above their general store in Walnut Grove. A mischievous and spoiled child, as described by those who knew him, Willie often found himself in trouble for playing pranks on other children, including his sister. With a notorious sweet tooth, he frequently helped himself to the candy in his family's store. Jonathan Gilbert, who played the role of Willie, brought him to life on screen. Born on April 28, 1967, Jonathan is the adopted son of actors Barbara Cowan and Paul Gilbert, and brother to actresses Melissa Gilbert and Sarah Gilbert. In her autobiography, Melissa mentions that she lost touch with Jonathan when he moved away from California when he turned 18, and they had no relationship thereafter for unknown reasons. According to the book, he works as a stockbroker in New York City. However, he did reunite with his sister and the Little House cast for the show's 50th anniversary reunion in Simi Valley on March 22, 2024. Gilbert brought Willie to life not only in Little House on the Prairie, but also in the made-for-TV movie The Little House Years in 1979. He also portrayed Jimmy in another made-for-TV movie, The Miracle Worker, in the same year, showcasing his versatility as a young actor. Dabbs Greer as Reverend Robert Alden. The Reverend Robert Alden, played by Dabbs Greer, served as the devoted clergyman of Walnut Grove's church and school within the beloved television series. Greer's portrayal of Alden depicted him as a compassionate and devoted minister to the township, sharing a special bond with the Ingalls family and fond friendships with Doc Baker and Nels Olson. Born in Fairview, Missouri, to Bernice Irene, a speech teacher, and Randall Alexander Greer, a druggist, Greer made his cinematic debut as an extra in the 1938 film Jesse James, shot primarily in and around Pineville, Missouri. In an interview with the Neo Show Daily News in 2002, Greer reminisced about his early acting days, quoting, "They were paying $5 a day to local people for being extras. That was a substantial sum back then, more than we typically saw." From 1992 to 1996, Greer took on the role of Reverend Henry Novotny in Picket Fences, tending to the spiritual well-being of the citizens in the fictional town of Rome, Wisconsin. He also made a guest appearance on an episode of Charles in Charge as Buzz Powell. Demonstrating his versatility, Greer portrayed a character addicted to licking the skin secretions of psychoactive toads in the May 9, 1991, episode of L.A. Law, titled On the Toad Again. He continued to grace screens in films like Con Air, 1997, and even took on the prominent role of the 108-year-old Paul Edgecombe in The Green Mile, 1999, starring alongside Tom Hanks. Dabbs Greer's final television performance was in a 2003 episode of Lizzie McGuire. Throughout his extensive career, Greer amassed approximately 700 appearances in both movies and television shows, typically as supporting roles. However, he wisely remarked in an interview with the Albany Times-Union in 2000 that every character actor in their own sphere is the lead. Sadly, on April 28, 2007, Greer passed away at Huntington Hospital in Pasadena due to kidney failure and heart disease. Matthew Labourteau as Albert Quinn Ingalls. Albert Quinn Ingalls, a young boy with a biological father named Jeremy Quinn, endured a tumultuous childhood, spending time in various orphanages. He was often bullied due to his small stature and inability to fight back, despite his valiant attempts. Albert took it upon himself to flee his circumstances at a young age and bravely navigated life on his own in the big city. His life changed when Charles and Caroline entered Winoka, and he was discovered at a casting call alongside his older brother, Patrick Labourteau. This led to his breakthrough role in the dramatic film A Woman Under the Influence, directed and written by the renowned John Cassavetes. Albert portrayed one of the children of Peter Falk and Gina Rowlands' characters, showcasing his acting prowess. Labourteau has since explored voice acting, lending his talents to video games, animated features, additional dialogue recording, and voice-over advertisements. He demonstrated his gaming skills as well, placing 10th in the Centipede game at the Atari Inc. World Championships in October 1981. He further solidified his gaming prowess in April 1982 by becoming the United States Pac-Man champion with an impressive score of 1/200,000 at a tournament sponsored by People magazine. In 1992, Matthew and Patrick established the Youth Rescue Fund in partnership with Los Angeles Youth Supportive Services. This charity organization dedicated its efforts to aiding young individuals facing crises, and they actively raised funds for youth shelters across the nation. However, the organization is no longer operational. On July 17, 2020, Labourteau married the love of his life, Leslie, and he proudly stepped into the role of stepfather to her 2 children. Dean Butler as Almanzo James Wilder. Almanzo James, the spouse of renowned scribe Laura Ingalls and parent to wordsmith Rose, found fame through his portrayal by thespian Dean Butler in the NBC TV production Little House on the Prairie and its trio of cinematic sequels. Almanzo is likewise a familiar figure within the Little House literary collection, wherein his betrothed chronicled their romance and union across the long winter, Little Town on the Prairie, These Happy Golden Years, and her inaugural marital annum. Hailing from Prince George, British Columbia, yet fostered in Piedmont, California, Butler immersed himself in communication arts instruction at the University of the Pacific, situated in Stockton, within the same state. Butler's initiation into performance unfolded with a modest role in the televised creation The Streets of San Francisco. His inaugural prominent part materialized within the 1978 small-screen Cinematic Forever, a derivative of scribe Judy Blume's tome sharing its title. He shared the limelight with the departed thespian Gary Coleman in The Kid with the 200 IQ, and graced the silver screen in Desert Hearts and The Final Goal. Butler has likewise enthralled audiences on stage, showcasing his talents in presentations by the esteemed composer and dramatist Stephen Sondheim. His Broadway beau occurred in the inaugural rendition of Into the Woods, assuming the role of Rapunzel's prince, while internationally, he portrayed Tony in West Side Story, and regionally, he featured in Company. Butler has since gravitated behind the lens, predominantly generating entertainment, sporting, and documentary fare. He lends his expertise to Feherty on the Golf Channel, headlined by David Feherty. Additionally, he serves as a West Coast correspondent for Broadway World, a digital entity dedicated to the performing arts. Butler is joined in matrimony with the actress Katherine Cannon, recognizable for her portrayal of Felice Martin within the televised creation Beverly Hills 90210. Their paths crossed during Cannon's audition for the principal feminine role in the Michael Landon-helmed series Father Murphy. The couple resides in Los Angeles, California. Victor French as Isaiah Edwards. Isaiah Edwards, a rugged mountain man, crossed paths with the Ingalls clan during their sojourn on the vast Kansas prairies, eventually settling alongside them in Walnut Grove. Edwards was a complex soul, battling inner demons. He struggled with alcoholism, spiritual crises, and profound sadness stemming from his traumatic past, often leading to brawls and reckless gambling. Yet he remained steadfast in his loyalty and friendship with the Ingalls clan, offering unwavering support. Victor French, the progeny of a stuntman, made his uncredited debut with a minor role in the 1954 production of Lassie. He honed his craft in westerns, typically portraying antagonists due to his rugged visage. French reunited with Michael Landon for Highway to Heaven, 1984, portraying Mark Gordon. In pursuit of elevating Los Angeles theater scene, French, alongside Leonard Nimoy, established LA's Company of Angels, an endeavor inspired by New York's off-Broadway movement. Their intimate 99-seat theater paved the way for LA's Equity Waiver Code. As French bid farewell to the company in the mid-1970s, he embarked on a private acting mentorship journey, soon finding himself in high demand. His approach was gentle and encouraging, catering to burgeoning actors. He directed productions in LA theaters, garnering acclaim through the Critics' Circle Award for 12 Angry Men. In the 1980s, he consciously chose to move away from villainous roles. Sadly, Victor French passed away in 1989, shortly after completing the final episode of Highway to Heaven. Ruth Foster as Melinda Foster. Melinda Foster, the diligent postwoman of Walnut Grove Post Office, led a fascinating life. Born Ruth Emma Forstell on January 29, 1920, in Cincinnati, Ohio, she was the eldest child of George and Helen Wilhelmi Forstell. Foster's journey into show business began at the tender age of 12 when she participated in a Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers dance contest hosted by the Schubert Theater, claiming first place. Her triumph led to a dancing career with the Latin Quarter Show. After honing her craft as a dancer for several years, Foster transitioned into acting from 1962 to 1964, appearing in productions such as Dimension 5 and Cyborg 2087, which unexpectedly received a nationwide theatrical release. She also worked as a tape editor and associate producer, showcasing her versatility in the industry. In 1984, Foster revisited her role as Melinda Foster in the made-for-TV movies Little House, Bless All the Dear Children, and Little House, The Last Farewell. Her passion for dance endured, and she performed professionally in the Palm Springs and Branson Follies until she was 85 years old. On a personal note, Foster married comedian Bobby Pincus, also known as Peter J. Ackerdy, in 1939. Accardy passed away in 1986, and Foster lived a full life until her peaceful death at 92 in Del Mar, California. Melissa Sue Anderson as Mary Ingalls. Mary Amelia Ingalls Kendall, the first fruit of the union between Caroline and Charles Ingalls, entered this world. In total, 7 siblings kept her company: Laura, Carrie, Charles Jr., Grace, Albert, and later James and Cassandra joined post-Mary's departure. Albert, a runaway and ward of the state, entered their lives when they temporarily relocated to Winoka to be closer to Mary. On September 26, 1962, in Berkeley, California, a star was born in the form of a second daughter to James and Marian Anderson. Anderson's journey in show business commenced when her dance instructor encouraged her parents to secure an agent for her. After dazzling in commercials, she swiftly became a sought-after talent for television roles, including a 1972 appearance in Tabitha's First Day of School, an episode of the beloved series Bewitched. Another memorable early role was as Millicent, the lucky girl who kissed Bobby in the Brady Bunch. She also graced the screens in an episode of Shaft that very same year. Anderson's stellar performance led to her induction into the Western Performers Hall of Fame, housed within the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. In 1999, she teamed up with Heather Langenkamp for the short-lived television series Partners. Fast forward to 2014, and you'd spot Anderson in an uncredited cameo as Stosh's mother in the neo-noir mystery comedy drama film Veronica Mars. The year 2010 marked the release of Anderson's autobiography, titled The Way I See It, a retrospective on my Little House days. This literary work delves into the behind-the-scenes tales and anecdotes of her time as a child star on Little House on the Prairie, along with insights into the show, its stars, guest stars, and crew. The autobiography also explores her career before and after Little House, side projects during those years, and how her personal life navigated the twists and turns of her professional journey. In 1990, Anderson exchanged vows with television writer and producer Michael Sloan. Together, they welcomed 2 children, a daughter, Piper, and a son, Griffin. The family relocated to Montreal in 2002 and proudly became naturalized Canadians on Canada Day in 2007. Can you imagine seeing these friendly faces from Little House on the Prairie? It's unbelievable that the show is 50 years old. Who's your favorite character? Share your thoughts below. Thanks for watching and see you soon.